All right, let's talk coffee. Today, we are diving deep into a drink that you've probably seen 1,000 times, but maybe never really understood. We are demystifying the Lungo.
You know the feeling. You're standing there, staring at the coffee menu, and the options are staring back. Espresso, maybe a bit too much punch. Americano, kind of watery sometimes. And then there's the Lungo. What's the deal with that? Well, by the time we're done here, you're going to know exactly which one to pick.
So, what is this thing really? Well, believe it or not, the biggest clue is sitting right there in the name itself. Let's get into it.
Super simple, right? Lungo is just the Italian word for long, and that's exactly what it is. It's an espresso, but instead of that super quick, short shot, the barista does what's called a long pull. All that means is they push more water through the coffee grounds and let it run for a little bit longer. And what's really fascinating is just how simple the change is. You literally start with the exact same amount of coffee you'd use for a regular espresso, but here's the twist. Instead of maybe 30 milliliters of water, you're using almost double that. And, this is the important part, you're extending the time that water is actually touching the coffee.
Okay, so a bit more water, a bit more time, big deal, right? Well, in the world of coffee, that completely changes the game. So now that we know how it's made, let's get to the real question. What does it actually taste like?
This number right here, this is the secret sauce. A normal espresso shot, you're looking at maybe 25, 30 seconds tops. But a Lungo? We're talking nearly a full minute, sometimes even longer. Now, that might not sound like a huge difference, but trust me, for coffee extraction, that is an eternity, and it's where all the unique flavor comes from.
So here's what's happening during that extra time. The water is pulling out more of the soluble stuff from the coffee grounds, especially the compounds that only come out at the very end of the process. This is why a Lungo often has a more pronounced, roasty bitterness than an espresso. But because there's more water, it has a lighter body, and it leaves you with this really distinct, long-lasting aftertaste. Now get ready for this, because this is the part that surprises pretty much everyone. You'd think more water means a weaker, less potent drink, right? Nope, not at all. Because that water is in contact with the coffee for so much longer, it has way more time to pull out the caffeine. The result? A Lungo actually has more caffeine than a standard shot of espresso. Pretty wild, huh? And this quote just nails it. This perfectly explains the Lungo's sweet spot. It's the ideal choice for when you need to stay focused for a good while, but you find that intense, in-your-face kick of an espresso a little harsh. This gives you a smoother, more extended kind of energy.
But hold on, the Lungo isn't just one single drink. You should think of it more like a base, you know? It's a starting point for a whole bunch of different coffee experiences. Let's take a look at how you can switch it up.
So you've got your classic, of course. But you can also go for a double Lungo for an extra kick. You can add a splash of milk to round out that bitterness. Pour it all over ice on a hot day. You can even get creative and add things like cinnamon, cacao, or a twist of orange peel. It's way more versatile than you'd think. Let's zoom in on that double Lungo for a second. Now, this isn't just twice the water. This is the big gun. It's made with more coffee grounds to start with, which means a bigger drink and an even higher caffeine content. This is your go-to for those all-day study sessions or those long road trips when you need maximum sustained focus.
All right, this is it, the moment we've all been waiting for, the final showdown. We're going to put all three of these drinks side by side to clear up any confusion once and for all.
Okay, just look at this breakdown. The real difference, the one that changes everything, is the method. Espresso is a quick pull. A Lungo is one single continuous long pull with more water. And an Americano? That's just a regular espresso shot that has hot water poured into it after the fact. That one little change affects everything. The taste, the caffeine, and even that gorgeous creamy layer on top, the crema, which is almost non-existent on an Americano. The Lungo? It really does sit in that perfect sweet spot between flavor and function.
So, now you know exactly what to order to get the experience you want. But before you run off to the cafe, there are just a few final things to keep in mind. Let's quickly go over some friendly advice.
Look, especially with a higher caffeine drink like a Lungo, it's all about moderation. Too much of a good thing can mess with your sleep or make you feel a little jittery. It's also a good idea to have some food in your stomach to avoid any irritation. But honestly, the most important thing is to just listen to your body. It'll tell you what's right. So, there you have it, the Lungo completely demystified. It's not just a big espresso, and it's not a small Americano. It's its own unique drink with a special process, a distinct flavor, and a clear purpose. So the only real question left is, the next time you step up to that counter, what are you going to order? Thanks for tuning in.